Welcome to the Wedding Songs Podcast, featuring newly released songs you need to know and the tried and true classics. Get song ideas from the time guests arrive until the last dance of the reception. And now your host, Matt Campbell, founder of myweddingsongs.com.
Welcome, everybody, to the Wedding Songs Podcast. I am Matt Campbell. Today, we have a very special guest, Bailey Taylor, and she is a singer-songwriter. Welcome to the show, Bailey.
Hello. Thank you for having me.
Thanks for being on the show. I was reading your background that you're originally from Pennsylvania, now living in Nashville, which is pretty cool. I assume that every striving artist wants to move to Nashville.
Yep, me. I always say when people ask me what I do for a living, I'm like, what everyone else here is doing. Singer-songwriter. But it's fun.
So speaking of that, as a side question, do you also write songs for other people or just for yourself?
I do. I haven't had any major cuts yet, but I co-write a ton, which is when we get into a room, whoever's looking for a song, we tend to just write for them. Or if we come up with a fun song, it either just kind of floats and no one takes it, or someone takes it and hopefully releases it. So, but yeah, I do write for other people, but I've been writing a lot for myself because I've been trying to release a lot of music lately.
Very cool. That's why you're here. So that's a good thing. Let's break the ice a little bit. And what is one thing about yourself that others don't know?
Oh, others don't know. I feel like I'm a pretty open book. Let's see. I've never broken a bone.
Okay.
I guess not many people know that besides my fiance, probably.
Okay.
Which I think is pretty impressive because I'm pretty clumsy. So that impresses me. I'm trying to think of other things. I'm pretty open. So I feel like a lot of people know a lot about me.
That's got to be hard too, because connecting with fans, stressful.
Yeah. And social media doesn't make it very easy to hide anything either.
So let's talk a little bit more about you. I read that your friends call you BayTay. How would you prefer that I call you?
It's whatever you want to call me. I've gone by BayTay my whole life. It started when I was little. I think just because Bailey Taylor, the Bay and the Tay rhymes. So my friends actually gave it to me in elementary school, and then it kind of just stuck. And then I had a period of time where I went with that as my stage name and then went back to Bailey Taylor because it sounded too pop for me. So I went back to Bailey Taylor, but everyone still calls me BayTay. So feel free to call me BayTay.
No, I actually like the full name better too, just because there's some similar big time names that are really close to BayTay. So I actually like the full name a little bit better.
Yeah, it's been working out since I changed it back. So
very cool.
Felt like a good move.
Who are some of the artists that have influenced your music?
I have before I moved to Nashville, I loved, and I still do love her music. Kelsea Ballerini. She has a big influence on how I write. So does Carrie Pearce. I just love the honest storytelling, and that's kind of where I tend to go down that route as well. So I respect anyone who is able to just be honest in their writing. And I feel like Carrie Pearce does a really good job with that. And Kelsea Ballerini. And I also say Carrie Underwood with some of my songs. I feel like that's a good mix of my music for all the new listeners. If they like those, I feel like they would like what I've been putting out as well.
And I think that they've gained respect that way, especially Kelsea talking about her divorce in her music. And that's very vulnerable to do.
Yeah. And I feel like as artists, I feel it's really hard to open up in those type of ways, especially when it is something as tragic as a divorce. But I feel like that's kind of our job to help the people who aren't able to write songs kind of relate to our music. Because, there's at least one other person out there feeling the way we do. So I feel like it's really good when people can just be honest in their storytelling, in their writing.
I totally agree. And those are the ones that are going to be #1 hits.
Yeah.
Because of your honesty, for sure.
Yeah.
So what would you consider your biggest accomplishment in music so far?
Biggest accomplishment?
Releasing music, maybe a stage performance?
Actually, I'd say, well, with Nicole, I was able to play my first CMA Fest this year with the 615 Live show that she puts on every year. And that was really cool because I've been going to CMA Fest for 5 years now since I moved here. So it was really cool to be on the flip side of actually being on the stage instead of in the crowd. But I'd probably say that, or just releasing music, I'd say. I feel like each song I release is a little pat on the back for me. It's a big accomplishment, like we said, putting out my truth and just hoping people can relate to it. So yeah, I'd say those two, probably.
So releasing music, let's get into more into that because you recently released the EP titled Now I Do with 3 songs. What is the inspiration behind the songs?
My wedding is in 4 days. It's on June 28th. That's what, when Nicole reached out to me to ask if I could do this, I was like, I can't even believe a wedding themed podcast is in my life right now. It's crazy. But yes, it was inspired by my wedding coming up, my fiance, obviously. And I have a song on there written to my dad.
That's exactly what I want to ask you about next. The song is titled Son You Never Had. I love this song. It's a great dedication to your dad. What did he think of it when he listened to it?
So it's been killing him because I made him promise me he would not listen to it until our father-daughter dance. So I wrote it before we got engaged because I wanted to play it for him that night. But I changed it after, like I changed it probably a few months ago. So this was over a year ago he heard it, and then he hasn't heard it ever again. So he loved it when he heard it. He cried like a baby. He's a dad of 3 girls. So he's very sentimental, emotional. We love him. But he bawled when he heard it, and then he hasn't heard it since. And I changed some of the lyrics and kind of just made it a little better, and then released it 3 days ago. So he hasn't heard the final product. And the original one was more guitar. And this one, I love the piano in it. I feel like piano is always a good tearjerker for songs, but I'm excited to see how he reacts in the moment during our father-daughter dance on Friday. So I'll have to get back to that one.
Okay. I don't have kids, but I can imagine how emotional that must have been. You know, I think of Alan Jackson wrote songs for his 3 daughters, and my father-in-law actually has 3 daughters. So you think of that, and I mention that because the song mentions 3 daughters, and you would be surprised how many fathers out there have 3 daughters. So it's kind of funny.
Yeah. I know a few dads who have 3 daughters, and I feel like a lot of girl dads, no matter how many girls they have, will definitely be able to relate to it. And that was part of the fun in writing it, because I know it's for my dad, but I know so many other dads and daughters will be able to relate to it. So that was special for me to be able to have this one on the EP and release it.
Were you going to play Now I Do as your first dance, or you have another one?
My dad asked the same question, and I was like, well, I don't want the whole wedding to just be me singing. But we're doing a song by Cameron Marlowe. I don't know if you know him. He's kind of newer. He's rising very fast. His song, Steady Heart. We're doing that one. And then we're walking into, you know how they do the intros?
Mm-hmm.
They introduce everyone. We're walking into, I don't know if you had a chance to listen to any of my other music, but Last Somebody New, I released last year. So we're walking into the chorus of that one, and then that'll be it for that. And then my father-daughter dance, I'll be singing or I'll be playing that for that song. So no, not the first dance song, but I'll throw like little snippets of me playing songs of my songs in there.
I agree with you that you don't want it all to be your music. It's your wedding day, but it's kind of his day too. So are you having an introduction for the wedding party as well? Song for them?
Yeah. They are walking into Here for the Party by Gretchen Wilson.
Nice.
Because
Great
they
song.
are definitely there just for the party. And us, I guess.
Right. Speaking of the ceremony, are you having just the traditional music?
Yes, he's a Catholic family. He comes from a big Catholic Italian family. So we're getting married in church, and they have all their traditions that they do. So yeah, we're just walking down the traditional music that you hear in a Catholic ceremony.
Yeah. That's interesting because my background's being Catholic too, but there's so many instrumentals. I would think that they would be able to incorporate those.
Yeah. No, yeah. The church we're getting married at, they had like a packet that we could pick from of a few songs, and they gave us those options. So
Yeah,
that's what we had to go with.
So what would you consider your biggest challenge to increasing your fan base?
Ooh, I'd say honestly, just finding what works best for my content and my page, because it's hard because people will tell me to post every single day or every other day or once a week. And no matter what I do, I lose followers. So I'm like, I don't really know what the best way for me to grow it. And also just there's so many people to compete with, but I don't look at it as a competition, but in the end, it is a true competition. There's so many people on TikTok gaining followers like that. So you're just trying to figure out and a lot of it is just algorithm. Like a lot of it's just luck, but then a lot of people do have strategies, and it's just whatever works for finding what works best for you, like what unique thing that you can do that sets you apart from everyone else. So I feel like that's been my hardest challenge, is figuring all that out.
Yeah, if I were to tell you anything, I would just say be yourself, because when you're not, that's what happens. If that explodes, then now it's a video of something that is really not you. That
Yeah. And then you're stuck in a rabbit hole trying to get out of that, because that's, I mean, and I see it a ton on especially TikTok. I feel like
Mhm.
see it a lot there, just with people I know personally, and it's just kind of sad because I'm like, just be yourself. Like I know how they are in person. I know their true self. So I'm just like, people would love you. People would love that version. But it's definitely hard. It's really hard having so many people do the same thing at once.
That's why you do things like this to help you stand
Yeah,
out.
honestly, yes.
Being in the music industry, how are you incorporating your personality into your wedding playlist? Not specific songs like we already talked about, but as an overall playlist.
Like kind of songs that I want played at the wedding.
I would just say as background after everybody arrives, you have during dinner and then also during
Okay.
dancing. How are you incorporating your personality?
Time for a quick break from the show to let you know about the Wedding Music Letter. Are you struggling to find the wedding songs that match your personality and music style? Are you having a hard time keeping up with the new wedding songs being released? Then subscribe today to the Wedding Music Letter by going to my website, myweddingsongs.com, and clicking on the Join Now button. Every Wednesday, you'll get song ideas to build your wedding playlists. On the last day of the month, you'll get all of the new wedding songs released from the prior month. So subscribe today and join over 7,000 other engaged couples and wedding pros by going to myweddingsongs.com and joining the Wedding Music Letter today. Now back to the show.
Obviously, I love country music. That is a big part of my identity and personality. We're doing a lot of country because my fiance also loves country music. So we have a lot of that. We have a lot of songs that we love and songs that have been a part of our relationship since day one we've been together. It'll be 7 years on our wedding day. Replaying a lot of those songs will kind of just bring out our personality, I feel like, the night of, and kind of just thinking back to like when we first heard that song, or just like the memories with tied to those songs. So I feel like we have a good mix of everything, every genre. And I feel like we both grew up on every genre also. So it's like our personalities will definitely be brought out.
I've spoken to other brides off camera, and they were saying that pretty much anything after the 2000s. So you're saying 2000s, 2010s, that's really the most popular. Of course, you have the icons, George Strait and Garth Brooks and, Faith Hill and all of them. So are you looking at more newer music towards the end of the night or incorporating that throughout?
I'd say throughout. We have a lot of, I love 90s country. I grew up on it. He did too. So we have a lot of that. Red Dirt Road, one of my favorite songs. I was like, that needs to be played. It was on our must playlist. We just set it into our DJ the other day. So I was like, that one needs to be played at some point. And it's funny because all my friends, when we're out, and if we're all out together and there's a band or someone can take requests, they know I'm always going to choose that song. And they're like, oh, Bailey's here again. Let's hear Red Dirt Road. But I'd say we have a lot of 90s country and then 2010s. But we do have a few, like Steady Heart is our first dance song. So we do have a few newer country songs scattered in, but we're big old country fans.
That's cool that you're incorporating all eras, because that's important. I just want to say, because, parents, grandparents, that's the music that they're familiar with. And even if you're trying to slow things down, you don't have to go to the newer slow songs. You could go with the classic songs as well.
We have 3 slow songs, I think, throughout the night. We have The End by Brad Paisley. I've always loved that song. That's an older one.
Yeah.
Wonderful Tonight by Eric Clapton. Forget what the other one was. But yeah, we have a mix of, because we do have our guest list. It's a very big wedding because, like I said, he's a Catholic Italian family. So our guest list ranges with the ages. So we do have a lot, like a variety of songs for everyone, which I'm excited because I feel like a lot of people will be on the dance floor.
That's cool. And if not, you've hired the wrong DJ. That's their job.
Yeah, just read the room. Get a list of like 19 must plays. And I was like, the only one I care about is Red Dirt Road. You can read the room for the rest of them. But no, yeah, it'll be good. I'm excited.
That's awesome. And before I go any further, I did want to say congratulations to, 4 days. If I were to give any tips, it would be make sure that you eat sometime during the day, because a lot of couples forget. And something's going to go wrong. I know you hate me saying this, but something's going to go wrong. Just take it all in stride, and what happens, happens.
It's funny because I've heard those two things this whole process, but especially the past 2 weeks, I've heard those two exact tips. And I feel like it's just a wedding day thing for every couple to say that. I feel like it's just bound to happen.
Yeah.
But no, I was told to eat as well because you just get carried away in what's going on. So, and I'm bad with that. I could literally not eat all day and be like, all right, I'll try again tomorrow. My mom will be the one to be like, here's your food, eat.
Yeah.
But yeah,
that's cool.
I've been warned.
I think that we forget, but then later in the night, then you start drinking and then it just gets bad. So that's why we always say to eat. So if you were to perform at a dream concert, who would you play with and where would it be?
Ooh, who would I play with? I'd probably say the 3 artists that have inspired my music or influenced. I feel like that would be really cool just to have it all come full circle because they are a big reason of why I am in country music and why I write the way I do. Where would it be? Nissan Stadium or
I don't want to sway you, but if it were me, it would be the Grand Ole Opry or the Ryman.
Well, I think, okay, yeah, the Grand Ole Opry, definitely. But honestly, the first one would be where I'm from, Heinz Field, and I'm still going to call it Heinz. It'll always be Heinz Field to me. But that would be really cool, doing a hometown show at that level. And then Nissan Stadium would be cool just because all of my peers are here and all the people who have helped me get to where I am in this city. And then, of course, everyone wants to play the Grand Ole Opry. That you've made it if you're at the Grand Ole Opry. So
yeah,
I'd say those.
Just for those listeners, Nissan Stadium, is that where the Titans play?
Yeah.
Okay.
And then Heinz Field is Steelers. Go Steelers. Does that mean you're a Steelers and Pirates fan?
Oh, no, it's all Philly.
Oh, no. Are you an Eagles?
My sport's baseball. So the Phillies pennant.
Okay.
And then because I live in,
as long as you're not Eagles.
yeah, little, not much, but because I live in Vegas, the Golden Knights for hockey.
Okay. Baseball's a fun sport to watch. I'm a football girl though. I don't know if it's like the season. I'm a big fall girl. I love everything about fall, but I cheered my whole life. So I've always been football.
It reminds me of this song. I can't remember her name, but she's wearing orange because of her boyfriend.
Oh, Megan Maroney.
Yes.
I'm wearing Tennessee orange for him. Love football.
There you go. You have to in the South. You have to.
Yeah.
Do you have any upcoming shows or projects that you want to share?
Oh, I feel like once wedding season is done, our honeymoon's done, I'll be able to book more shows. I don't have really anything on the calendar right now just because it's been so hectic. I've had to turn down a couple shows. I couldn't add any more to my plate, but I definitely want to, once everything's settled, to start booking a lot more. But it's on my website. I think we'll go over that at the end with all my socials, but I'll be adding more shows to my website for people to view and of course on my socials. But right now I've just been writing a lot. But even that, these past couple of weeks, I've been like, sorry, I've been like a little hermit. My friends text me like, are you good? I haven't had any time to do anything other than have my face in wedding plans. So, but I'm looking forward to getting back on the road.
That's awesome. You just reminded me, so many brides I remember did not want to play I'm in a Hurry to Get Things Done by Alabama because of the stress. It just reminded them of all the stress that they were going through.
Literally. I really am in a hurry right now to get things done.
So going off of that, are there any tips that you would give for couples planning their weddings?
Just have fun with it. I say that as talking to myself this past year and a half. I do feel like you get stuck in the middle of just feeling like everything needs to be perfect, and then it just stresses you out. And the 2 things that stressed me out the most were obviously the guest list, trying to figure out where to cut it. And with such big families, I'm like, where exactly do we cut it without hurting anyone's feelings? And then I'm a big people pleaser. So that was I don't want to hurt anyone's feelings. And then when all the RSVPs were supposed to be in on time, I was like, okay, do people not read the RSVP date? But then I do the same thing when I get an RSVP. I'm like, that's me. So it was funny because I couldn't even be mad. Because when we get save the dates or RSVPs, you have all this time to RSVP and you just forget about it. So we were texting and calling 120 people who didn't reach out and RSVP. So that was probably the most stressful part. I just kept having to remind myself, like, it's only going to happen once. hopefully. And no, he's a good guy. He's a good one. It's only going to happen once. So just to take it all in, soak it in, and it goes by so fast. And even I know the wedding day will go by so fast, but even this year and a half, like I look back and it feels like we just got engaged. So I'm like, how are we already here? But I would just say to take it all in, enjoy it. It's a special time.
I'll even take it one step further that one of the best things that happened to us when we got married was the officiant told a joke. And it just helped relax us because you're getting, like you're saying, even not only the planning, the wedding day itself, it's going to go by so fast. And just to sit back and take in those moments, I think that's one of the reasons. I'm not sure if you're doing this, but one of the reasons why the private last dance is becoming so popular, because then they clear out the room and it's just them and they can just reflect on what happened in that day.
Yeah. And we're actually taking a week before we go on our honeymoon. So it'll be nice to have that week kind of just to relax and like reflect on everything. But yeah, going back to being a people pleaser, I know the day of I'm just going to be like, okay, is everyone good? Is everyone good? Anyone need anything? But everyone having a good time. I just want to be present and off my phone and just there and just soak it all in. But it'll go by fast. I already know it. I mean, this year has gone by fast. It's already June. So I'm like half a year and then a day. It all goes by so fast.
For sure. Besides people following you and connecting with you, is there something else that we missed that you want to share about you?
I don't think so. I feel like we covered everything.
Okay. This is one of those trick questions at the end that people sometimes have.
Like,
I want to make sure I talk about that.
I feel like I am all wedding right now. I feel like we've covered all of that.
Sorry you had to do this 4 days before your wedding.
No, this has been a good break, actually.
Okay, good.
I've been stalling. I'm writing letters to like my fiance, my parents, and my in-laws' parents. Well, I guess you could say parents-in-laws. So I've been stalling doing that because I know I'm just going to cry doing it. So this has been a good break. I wrote my mom's last night and I was a wreck. No, this has been fun.
Cool. Is he involved with the planning to help you out too?
Oddly, he has been very involved. The very beginning of planning, they were like, you're going to do it all. They'll be there for a few things, but he has been involved the whole way. And it's funny because he has opinions on everything. And his mom's even like, his name's Frankie. She's like, Frankie, the girl's supposed to care about this. Like, why? The guy usually doesn't care what the color scheme is or whatever it's been. I'm like, but it's been a good and bad thing, I guess, along the way.
This may give you a little bit of goosebumps, but I could say that the couples where the guy is involved with the wedding, those are usually the ones that last because they care.
Yeah.
So
he definitely cares. He's a big heart. So
that's good.
He wants the wedding to be perfect just as much as I do. And I think a lot of it, he loves me so much. And I've never had a doubt of that. And he just wants me to be happy. So he's like, I'll help with whatever. I'll do whatever. I just want you to have the best day. So
awesome.
He's the best.
That's a great way to close out. So where can listeners connect with you and follow along? I'm on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook under BayTay Music, BayTay Music. And then my website is baileytaylormusic.com, BAILEY. There's like 19 ways of spelling Bailey and everyone spells it wrong. So it's BAILEY taylormusic.com. Well, thanks, BayTay, for being on the show today. Thank you so much for having me. And, all the best too in your wedding and in your future as well. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Thanks everybody for listening, and stay tuned for next week for another episode of the Wedding Songs Podcast coming out every Thursday morning. Thanks for listening and have a great day.
Thank you for listening to the Wedding Songs Podcast. Never miss a future episode. Subscribe today to our podcast. Follow us on Facebook at My Wedding Songs and send us a message about playlists you would like covered.